Hey, what's up, y'all? Yeah, so it is time uh to do my mom this yeah, what week is it? Oh yeah, week 9 recap. So we're gonna talk about some of this week's biggest winners and losers. Uh so here we go. Guess we'll start with uh uh with these Thursday night games. So yeah, so NC State did beat Virginia Tech 22-21. Yeah, and I mean I thought Virginia Tech was gonna win. I mean it was 21-3 at one point. Of course, NC State was without starting quarterback Devin Leary, so they kind of started with Jack Chambers, and then he was he was terrible, so they did end up going with the name C.J. Morris or DJ Morris, something like that. Is it CJ or DJ? Yeah, Morris. And they did end up coming back and winning by 1 point. So yeah, they were a 13.5 point favorite. Obviously, they didn't cover that. Let's see, then Utah and Washington State. Yeah, I had actually picked Washington State to upset Utah because crazy things happen in these Thursday and Friday night games. Utah was a 7 point favorite. However, Washington State did cover those, only 21-17. So, and let's see, and then yes, BYU did lose to East Carolina at home, 27-24. They were favored by a field goal. Instead, they lost by a field goal. BYU. I mean, what has happened to you? I mean, here you did start 4-1, but now you've lost 4 in a row. What are you doing? Yeah, man. Now BYU started out so good, but now you might not even make a bowl. I mean, you have to win 2 of your last 3. So, I mean, you'll beat Utah Tech, but I mean, you also have to beat either Boise State or Stanford. So, anyway, now East Carolina is pretty good now. I mean, they did almost beat NC State. Of course, now they've just beaten UCF and BYU. So, they're a good Group of 5 team. Anyway, so yeah, no, I gave UCF a hard time about losing to East Carolina last week. So, but anyways, now let's get into these Saturday games. We did have Penn State and Ohio State. Ohio State was a 15.5 point favorite. I thought they would cover, but they didn't, as it was 44-31. But I mean, really, Penn State was the better team, if not for the turnovers. You see, Penn State actually outgained Ohio State. The problem is they also had 4 turnovers. Yes, Sean Clifford was responsible for 4 turnovers. Yes, 3 interceptions and a fumble. And then for Ohio State, JT Tuimoloai was actually responsible for 2 of those turnovers. He had a forced a fumble that that led to a touchdown, and then one play later, and then he also had a pick six. So yeah, it was like in this game, Ohio State's defense actually had to save the offense. So I mean, yeah, you just Ohio State's offense doesn't need any help by you giving them the ball on your side of the field. Yeah, those 4 turnovers led to 21 points for Ohio State. So, but anyway, so yeah, Penn State, yeah, Sean Clifford cost you this game. So, let's see. Let's talk about Arkansas and Auburn. Arkansas was a 3.5-point favorite, but I had actually picked Auburn with the upset, but it didn't happen. Arkansas did win 41-27, and I mean it wasn't even that close. I think Auburn was actually winning. It was just 4. I think it was just a 4-point game at halftime. It was 17-13 Arkansas, and then the floodgates opened in the second half. I think Arkansas was up 38-13 about halfway through the fourth quarter. Auburn did manage to score a couple of garbage touchdowns at the end, but yeah. So Auburn finally fired Brian Harsin. Yeah, we had been hearing for weeks. Harsin's getting fired after the Georgia game. He's getting fired after the Ole Miss game. He's getting fired after the bye week. Well, this time he was actually fired after the Arkansas game. So I guess who's going to be the next coach at Auburn. Deion Sanders, right? That's his name. That's been floating around. Deion Sanders to either Auburn or Georgia Tech, right? Or of course the other name that I've heard that they might hire Hugh Freeze if the SEC will allow it. So, and then how about Notre Dame beating Syracuse 41-24. Really thought Syracuse would win, but they didn't. I mean, it's just been an emotional roller coaster for Notre Dame fans. I mean, it's like 1 week they'll lose to Marshall. Another week they're beating North Carolina. Another week they're losing to Stanford. Another week they're beating Syracuse. I mean, we just can't figure Notre Dame out. But anyway, so yeah, my mom Garrett Schrader, my mom left the game as toward the end of the first half with an undisclosed injury. So they did put in their backup, Carlos Del Rio Wilson. So, and I think he was a transfer from Florida. I think, I believe. Anyway, and then Georgia Tech and Florida State. I mean, I thought thought Georgia Tech would at least cover the 24. They didn't. You lost by 25. And yeah, Georgia Tech still without Jeff Sims. So they were playing Zach Gibson and Zach Pyron. Yeah, Zach and Zach. Turns out that, Zach Gibson is no good, so he tried to start this freshman, Zach Pyron. And I mean, he did okay, but I think unfortunately, there goes your bowl hopes. To make a bowl game now, you would have to win 3 of your last 4. That's not going to happen. You might beat Virginia Tech, you might beat Miami, but you're not beating North Carolina, and you're not beating Georgia. I think that you do have a good chance of beating Virginia Tech or Miami if you can get Jeff Sims back, because with Jeff Sims, y'all have a chance. Without him, you don't really. So, but anyway, and that was the noon games. About some afternoon games. Yeah, and who saw this coming? Kansas State 48, Oklahoma State 0. Where in the world did this come from? I wasn't watching the whole game. I was kind of, flipping around, but it seems like, every time, I went back to this game, it's like Kansas State had scored another touchdown. It's like, oh, it's 14-0. Oh, it's 21-0. Oh, it's 28-0. 35-0 at halftime. So, yeah. Yes, there was nothing wrong with Spencer Sanders. Yeah, he played. Oklahoma State was without their leading rusher. Not trying to make any excuses, but so yeah, and you even had Mike Gundy's son, Gunnar Gundy, was Oklahoma State's leading rusher. So, anyway, Deuce Vaughn just had a monster game. He had 150 something yards and a touchdown. Oh yeah, speaking of running backs having big games, I forgot to mention that for Arkansas. Raheem Sanders had like 170 yards and like 2 touchdowns, right? He had 10 yards a carry, which is insane. And the Deuce Vaughn did have about 7 yards a carry. So, and then about Cincinnati and UCF. I thought Cincinnati would win this game. They didn't. It was UCF 25-21. Right after I had just dropped UCF out of my poll, they went out and beat Cincinnati. So, so who's left for the group of 5? Now it looks like this New Year's Six bowl. Now it could be down to Tulane and Liberty. So, but anyway, so now this one was really disappointing. See, Missouri and South Carolina. Yeah, Shamecock. You got absolutely mollywopped by Mizzou. Yeah, 23-10. Wow. You were a 3.5-point favorite. That's it. You're not winning 8 games. Yeah, you're not winning 8 games. Right now, my best case scenario is 7-5. You'll beat Vandy, whether you're 6-6 or 7-5. Comes down to the Florida game. You're not beating. You're not beating Tennessee or Clemson. So yeah. But Mizzou, meanwhile, keeps their bowl hopes alive. Now they just need to win 2 of their last 4. So now about Tennessee and Kentucky. It's not surprising that Tennessee scored in the 40s on Kentucky. Now what is really surprising is their defense. They had their performance of the year against Kentucky. Only 6 points. Seemed like Kentucky really couldn't do anything right since that miss. Since they had an extra point blocked in the first quarter. Will Levis 3 interceptions. Hendon Hooker 3 touchdowns, and Jalen Hyatt did have over 100 yards and 2 touchdown catches. So we'll see Tennessee next week. Speaking of my Georgia Bulldogs, of course we did beat Florida 42-20. I already talked about this game on Saturday. So anyway, so now Michigan did beat Michigan State 29-7. It was just a slow, painful death for Michigan State. Michigan just slowly, like a boa constrictor, right? Just a boa, it's just tighter and tighter and tighter. First it was it was 7-3, and then 7-10, and then 7-13, and then 7-16, and then 7-19. And then of course it ends up being 29-7. And there was one stat that I saw during the game. It was like second half total yards, Michigan 200 and something. Michigan State -1. So, and then of course you may have heard about what happened at the end of the game. It's like at a Michigan Stadium, the home team and the visiting team share a tunnel to the locker room. So anyway, and then there was this Michigan player. He was attacked by 10 Michigan State players. He must have said something that set them off. But anyway, where were his teammates? There were no other Michigan players around him. Looked like they had all already gone to the locker room. So what was he doing? Why wasn't he he you know with his team? It seems like he was looking for trouble. That's still no reason to try to beat someone up. So yeah, I think that Michigan State did suspend some of their players, right? I guess the ones that they could identify from the video. But yeah. Anyway, how about Ole Miss and Texas A&M? And yes, I mean Ole Miss ran the ball down A&M's throat for 390 yards. I think it was Quinshon Judkins had over 200 yards. So yeah, I mean it's just so funny. They have all that talent, and I mean your front seven was just getting owned by Clemson, by Ole Miss's offensive line all night. So, and I mean, and now I think we already know that A&M is probably not going to a bowl. They would have to win to win 3 of their last 4, and I mean it's just not going to happen. I mean it's just so funny that A&M and Jimbo Fisher just signed the #1 recruiting class last year, and now they're going to be like 5-7, or maybe even 4-8. I mean I think they'll beat UMass, but. And of course, Baylor and Texas Tech, I actually thought that this would be a good game. Instead, Baylor blew them out 45-17. I mean, it was close going into the fourth quarter, and then Baylor just opened the floodgates. Let's see now about Pitt and North Carolina. I think it was actually 24-21 going into the fourth quarter, and then North Carolina did score 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Now, Drake May is the Heisman contender that no one is talking about. I mean, he just threw for 5 touchdowns, for almost 400 yards and 5 touchdowns in this game. So yeah, and he actually is like 4th in FBS and in passing yards. He has more than C.J. Stroud or Hendon Hooker. So, anyway, so any more games? Let's see. Oh yeah, Louisville just destroyed Wake Forest, 48-21, and it was just like Miami. Wake Forest did have 8 turnovers in this game and 6 in the third quarter. And then Louisville also scored 5 touchdowns in the third quarter. 2 of them were pick sixes. Anything else happened? See, Illinois stays on a roll. They just beat Nebraska 23-6. Let's see, Oregon. Yes, still a good team, despite what Georgia did to them. Bo Nix says that if we played again, Oregon would win. No. Let's not get carried away. But yeah, I mean, Oregon is a good team. Just beat Cal, 42-24. Let's see, more Pac-12. Southern Cal barely escaped with a win against Arizona, 45-37. Let's see, UCLA crushed Stanford, 38-13. Let's see, and then how about this bottom 10 matchup? Yes, New Mexico State defeated UMass 23-13. So, yeah. Anyway, and a TCU with another close win. Yeah, TCU still playing with fire and getting away with it. They just keep getting so lucky. But anyway, another close one with West Virginia. But they did end up winning 41-34. Yeah, as for West Virginia and Neil Brown, you had cut it to a field goal game. It was 34-31, and you do an onside kick when you have 4 minutes left. There was really no need to onside kick in that situation. She did anyway, giving TCU the ball in your own territory, but you're lucky that your defense came up with an interception. But then you went 3 and out. So just another heartbreaker for West Virginia. It's been happening a lot this season. But anyway, and then on 4th and 1, TCU did just get a total, garbage touchdown. You ran up the score at the end. But anyway, so I think I'm gonna let that be it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all again next time.